Hello and welcome to another Zoom group. So let's start off with just connecting in and out of existence. Um, so just to kind of run through if you're watching this video for the first time and seeing this. I just draw the distinction between in existence and out of existence and how we are all over the place, all over the world in the group um, in existence, but out of existence, we can all connect. So yeah, just kind of come into the not come into, but become more conscious of the room that you're in, or just take note. Take note. That's a better way of putting it. Just take note of where you're in, and just to begin to get the sort of the distinction between in existence and out of existence. So if you're in my case, I'm in a room, there's a device in front of me that I'm speaking to, my phone. You'll be similar sort of arrangement, either a laptop or some kind of device where you're hearing, and there'll be what is in the room with you. So that's what's going on in existence. So then if you just kind of close your eyes, so straight away that's one sense gone. Your vision is gone. Then you've got the smells that are still there. You've got your sensation of breathing, which is part of your tactile sense. You've got the sensation in your body, and you've got your hearing. Okay, so you can hear what I'm saying, but all that is going on out of existence, behind existence or back from existence. So just um, bring your attention to the sensation in your hands first, just to really highlight it. Just bring your attention to it a bit more and see if you can notice there's a difference, or if there is a difference between the sensation in the back of your hands and the sensation in the front of your hands, or the palms and your fingertips. And then just pull back from that a little bit, and then bring your attention to the sensation in your thighs. And see if there's a difference between the sensation in your thighs and in the sensation in your hands. And then see if you can be in both places. Have your attention inside your thighs and your attention inside your hands at the same time. And then just start to bring your hands down onto your thighs. And you can lift them off and bring them down again, just to kind of feel what it feels like from your thighs perspective. So you can put all your attention into your thighs, and then you can feel your hands coming down onto them, what that feels like. Then you can come back from that, go and put all your attention into your hands, and then as you touch your thighs, what that feels like. And again, you can keep lifting your hands off and putting them down again. And then see if you can feel both at the same time, the sensation in your hands and the sensation in your thighs. Again, as you put your hands on your thighs and then lift them off again and put them on again, you can hold both together. And what you're feeling there is the membrane between what's in existence and what's out of existence, because all the sensations that you're registering, they're all happening out of existence. You don't feel them in existence, you feel them, register them out of existence. So I just pull back from that a little bit more and pull back out away from existence a little bit more if you can. And then just start to if you like, you to reach your hands out on either side of you as if you were stretching out to connect with something. And see, put all your intention into your hands. Again, keep your eyes closed. All your intention into your hands. And then see if you can get a sense of, let's start off with me. See if you can get a sense of me, that I'm reaching out to connect with you as well. So you have a reference point for what the sensation inside your hands is like. And then you have a reference for my kind of energy, and see if you can feel that with your hands. Because again, you're out of existence where anything is possible. You don't have to keep your hands out. If your arms become tired, you can put them down, but the intention is still the same, just to connect with me first. Because out of existence, your body doesn't have any shape, time doesn't exist in the same way, distance doesn't exist in the same way. So you can connect with me, it doesn't matter where you are. And now see if you can get a sense of the other people in the group. And again, time, distance, space, doesn't matter. And you don't have to think of us all in a big ring. You can connect with everybody at the same time. I mean, in a big circle. You don't have to think of it like that. You can just connect with everybody almost simultaneously. You have a sense of the other people in the group and that we're all connected. And that's where the real connection's happening. I mean, Zoom is great, and I love the technology, and it's great for our frontal part of our awareness and our mind, and the communication that happens in existence. That's all great, but the really real connection is out of existence. The really important stuff. To feel that. And then, because time doesn't operate in the same way here, you can get a sense of all the people who watch the video of this. You can get a sense of all of them as well. You can connect with all of them. And if you're watching the video, you can get a sense of all of us who are here, part of this group, and all the other people who are watching. And all the other people who have watched and who will watch. Because past, present, that's all in existence, out of existence. It all kind of happens at the same time. So the great thing is that this is available all the time to you. There are always people you can connect with out of existence. Okay, so when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. You can you don't have to surface. It's all available. And then just close your eyes again, and then open your eyes, and just go back and forth a little bit and see that, yeah, it doesn't go away. Like it, just because you include vision out of existence stuff and the in existence, it all happens simultaneously. It all happens at the same time for you. Good. All right. So I've had a couple of questions. So I'm just going to dive into them. And then if you've got a question about anything else, we can get into that afterwards. Where is my first question? Okay, so this person says was watching the video, not the videos, the meditation, the 15-minute meditations that I do across all of the internet, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's everywhere. Okay, so they say, I enjoyed the short meditation. I meditated for years and I'm now trying to get back doing it every day. I usually use a guided meditation. It helps the wandering mind. I also light incense, face east, and concentrate on the light in the center of my head. Once I find myself thinking or aware of other things, I use that as a jumping board to go deeper, back to the center. I'd like to know what you do and what your experiences are. If they are not addressed in your book, they're talking about Maya Noise, because in another message they said that they'd ordered it. I admire you for helping people to reach enlightenment. I hope to get there one day too. So that's great. Thanks for that, Miss. Thanks for the question. So I thought I'd just go into. I mean, I talk about meditation on the in the just the 15-minute meditations that I do. They are really a chance to meditate together, and then I just do a little run through of what I do, just for people who are new to meditation. But obviously, there's a lot more to meditation than I can cover in a little, 15 minutes on Instagram. So I think for like the main thing is that for if you're in further emergence, unless you're overwhelmed, if you're overwhelmed, meditation is not a great idea. I just don't think it's the best thing to do. It's because, as I was talking about, like being overwhelmed is a little bit like sitting in the center of a hurricane. So any kind of thought that you have pulls you into the hurricane, and you're like, and it can be hard to get back to the center. So you would think, oh well, meditation would be great for that, but it's not, in my experience. Light distraction is very good for that, so that you're not actually focusing too much on what's going on. I find that much more helpful, because meditation in that kind of situation can feel a little bit like throwing petrol on a fire. It can be very painful, and I think unnecessarily. So if you're overwhelmed, not a great time to do meditation. I would think. If you wait, I mean, the overwhelm's going to pass anyway. So if you wait, it'll pass, and then you can meditate, and that's fine. Then you can look at the issues and underlying stuff. Okay. So that being said, other than when you're overwhelmed like that, and you're in further emergence, meditation is probably one of the most helpful things that can help you with further emergence. And mantras and guided meditation and all that kind of thing are great, but they, like, a mantra is good for helping your nervous system, particularly a mantra like something that you get in TM or a transcendental meditation. Great. It's like it's attuned to your nervous system. It helps your nervous system relax. Great. But ultimately, and because I did TM, I did guided meditations, I've done lots of different types of meditations, but ultimately, for me anyway, it's like ultimately you get the sort of the, what's this? There's a phrase for, like, which I can't think of, something like that hard edge or the cutting edge or the cold front of what you're doing is to do with not thinking. So a guided meditation will engage your mind. It sort of brings your mind somewhere, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, where you end up at, or where the real kind of depth work is in not thinking. Similarly with the mantra, somebody asked me about it during the week, and I was saying, often, like, meditation to me feels like, going into a crowded pub, pre-COVID, obviously, going into a crowded pub with 300 people that all look like you and sound like you. Maybe the people from your past, and they're all chatting and having a great time, and it's super interesting. And in the far corner is your intuition, the very far corner, and it's just whispering. And meditation is like going into the pub and going, can everyone just shut up for a minute, because I want to hear, my intuition. And that's the beginning of it. And then as you get more into it, then you sort of make your way to that intuition, and then you go out the back door of the pub into this huge, mysterious place. Okay? So a mantra can be like that pub, but it's like got techno music, like dum 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 over all the time. So it's still really hard to hear that, and it's still really hard to walk through it and go out the back door, which is kind of where you're headed, you know. So it's all fine. Everything has its place, and I'm not putting anything down, but I'm just saying, like, for ultimately where you're going to end up at is not thinking. So as I say, I'm not putting them down, but just putting them in the hierarchy, I suppose, of where I see them, or where I see it. And like, not thinking is just the hardest thing to do. Like, it's the I can understand why all these other things have kind of come up, So I just made a few little notes just on different things to do with meditation, just to sort of add, to fill it out a bit. Okay, so I'll just go through the basic. Okay, so it's like, meditation is so simple but really difficult to do. Okay, so like, I close my eyes and I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound. So basically I stop thinking. That's stopping thinking. But then I also know that my mind is just in the habit of thinking. So the practice of meditation is just continually doing that. It's like, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. Oh, there I am thinking. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. Oh, there I am thinking. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. And on and on and on. Now, I'm doing other things as well, letting go of tension in my body and all that kind of thing. But the cold front, or whatever that phrase is that I can't think of, the cutting edge, that's not it either. But anyway, the nitty gritty end of it is seeing that I'm thinking, turning off the pictures, turning off the sound, and just repeatedly doing that over and over and over again. So that's the basic of it. Okay, so some things that and these are in no particular order of preference, is if like the meditation that I do on Instagram it is similar to what I do normally, but normally I don't have a camera in front of me and whatever. So for me, I'll generally have a timer kind of to remind me to meditate, because I don't want to be thinking about it. Like, I just want to think about less and less things. So I'll set a little timer, at the cold face. Yeah, somebody's saying the phrase I want is at the cold face. Yep, cold face. Okay. So yeah, I set a timer. So generally, how it goes for me in a normal kind of day is, when I wake up, I'll just sit up in bed and I'll meditate for about 15 minutes, and I'll set my timer. I always set a timer for meditating because I just don't want to think about it. I'm trying to help my mind not think. So I set a timer so that I'm not in there going, how much time has passed? Because time doesn't operate the same way out of existence anyway. So as soon as I, close my eyes, I'm into, a different kind of time space. So of course my mind is kind of I'm sure 15 minutes has passed now, and it's like, look at my watch, it's like 3 minutes have gone. Like, oh no. So timer just helps me not do that. Okay. Then, yeah, so I'll sit up in bed and I'll just meditate for about 15 minutes. Now, it's a weird kind of thing because I'm very close to dreaming. Like, I've just come out of dreaming, and dreaming is part of out of existence. So for me, meditating straight away, as soon as I wake up, and it's important to sit up, because if I tried to do it and I was lying down, I'd just fall asleep again. So sitting up, it's a way of kind of, if there's any loose ends from dreaming, meaning if there's things that I was trying to convey to myself in the dream that I didn't really get, or will drift off into, just mist, then meditating that is straight away helps kind of finish off or consolidate anything. Okay. So once I do that, then I'll set a little timer of somewhere between an hour and a half, just to remind me to, it's not to remind me to meditate, but it's like to bring my awareness to, do I want to meditate or not, or is it appropriate? So then I'll get on with my day and I'll be doing whatever. And then an hour and a half or an hour, 15 minutes or whatever later, my alarm will go off. And depending on what I'm doing and where I am, I'll either meditate again or I won't. Now, that in itself is a little process, because one of the benefits of meditating and how it helps you with further emergence is days, our existence and days in existence have momentum. You start off and, go along and you're doing this email, or you're doing washing the dishes, or whatever it is that you're doing. So having a little alarm to go off is, I find it's great, because it's like, um, part of me is the momentum will be like, no, let's just do this, finish this thing off. And it's really good to just stop. um, because it sort of breaks up that momentum, and it's almost like snaps me into awareness of what's actually happening right now. So without that, I'd be just getting very involved in the business of the day. Whereas as soon as the alarm goes off, I'm like, it's almost like I pull back, go, oh, right. And then if it's appropriate, like if I'm not driving somewhere, or if I can, then I'll go, great, and I'll put my timer on 15 minutes and I'll meditate. Now, the other thing I do as well and uh, is that I when I start off to meditate, I don't kind of go, right, okay, I'm going to get into my meditative position now, and okay, and then I'm going to set my timer. I generally, as soon as the alarm goes off to sort of to say to me, hey, do you want to meditate now? Then I can, and it's appropriate, then I'll set my timer. I'll almost like try and not move and set my timer, close my eyes, because I want to see what's happening in my body. I don't want to change my position into my meditation position. I want to use the opportunity to see how my body is, right? So I have a tendency to slouch. I think I've got some sort of lower back thing, right? Where if I'm sitting in a chair, I just start, I just keep doing it. Okay. So meditation has been great for me, because I become conscious of that. Like as soon as I close my eyes, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm slouching. And what happens is that as I'm meditating and I'm checking my body, I will just automatically get into what is considered a very nice meditative position, meaning my spine will just automatically straighten, because it's almost like trying to tune a radio. I just will not be able to hear or feel, it doesn't feel right. So then I'll sort of sit up a bit. And if I happen to have my arms folded or my legs crossed or whatever, that won't feel right as well. So I will eventually uncross them. But I think there's great value in doing that from the inside out, rather than going, okay, I must sit up straight now because I'm going to meditate. I must uncross my arms and legs, and I must, breathe better and all that kind of thing. I find that not doing any of that, but just closing my eyes and going, right, I'm going to start, and then start checking my body. And then, and sometimes I just go, like it's funny because I'll hear myself going, yeah, I'm not going to sit up. No, I don't want to sit up. No, I'm going to keep my arms and my legs crossed. Basically, fuck you. I don't care. And I'll be like having a little tantrum on the inside about just sitting up straight. And that's all very, it's very, it's informative. It's like hearing things I wouldn't have heard before. So that's something else to do. Is I would discourage you from getting into a special meditative position. I've been thinking about lying down. Meditating lying down, very different to meditating sitting up. Generally, I'd encourage you to sit up. Okay. So, for example, if my alarm goes off and I start meditating and then I start nodding off, I stop meditating and I lie down and have a snooze. Okay. Because my body is basically saying to me, I'm tired. Okay. Now, I've learned that really, obvious thing through trying to persevere with it and going, no, I'm going to meditate. I'm not going to, and it's awful. I just end up like, snotty. So lying down meditation can be it's almost like it becomes a little bit more trippy for me anyway. um Meaning I sort of get much closer to sleep, if that's assuming I don't actually fall asleep. Okay, so just in case I'm being confusing here, I'm drawing a distinction between if in the normal course of the day, if my alarm goes off to meditate and I start to meditate and I start to nod off, I will go for a snooze. Okay, that's different to consciously going, I'm going to do some lying down meditation. Okay, personally, a lot now. Okay, I used to do it differently, but now, the kind of lying down meditation I do is usually if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm not going to sleep, or when I'm trying to go to sleep and I don't go to sleep, or maybe I wake up during the night. Um, and that's usually has a very different vibe. It's it's kind of thicker. There's a kind of thickness to it, and I access different things. Okay, I don't want to go into that side of it too much because it can help with further emergence, but I have a feeling that how I relate to lying down meditation has been informed by years of sitting up meditation. So it is possible to do it, but just if you feel sleepy, go for a sleep. That's the main thing I think I want to say there. So you'll see different schools of meditation talking about observing your breath, observing thoughts, and that kind of thing. That's all fine. Again, you like one of the things about, say, a mantra or a guided meditation or something like that. Like a mantra, in some ways, it kind of bores your mind into stillness, because of the repetition. You almost like hypnotize your mind into stillness. Similarly with your breath, like anything, if you focus on it long enough, it's gonna become bigger. So breath is fine. Like the breath side of it, it's important to breathe. Obviously, that's great. To focus on your breath becomes a kind of a mantra. So I would discourage that side of it, because for me, it's about engaging with your mind and what's really happening, not kind of trying to bore or numb your mind into it. And the thing about observing your thoughts, that happens naturally in my experience, because if you're just turning off the pictures, turning off the sound, every time you discover that you're thinking, you're turning off the pictures, turning off the sound, you're coming back to not thinking, repeatedly doing that, then you can't help but not notice your thoughts. You can't help but not observe your thoughts, because in order to stop thinking, you have to realize that you were thinking. So I start off, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, and then maybe a minute goes by and I'm in the middle of this really complicated thought about this thing that's very personal to me. And then I kind of go, oh, I'm meditating. Oh, that's right. And I turn off the pictures. In the process of like the instant before I realize that I'm thinking and I'm right in the thought, there's that instant. And the next instant, I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm meditating. So a thought that was kind of all over me, and I was like immersed in the thought, and the thought was me, and I was the thought. Suddenly, it's like it comes off me, and I'm looking at it going, oh, I'm thinking. That's right. And I'm, meditating. You can't help but observe your thought. And the other powerful thing about that is that what was felt like me an instant ago, now I'm looking at it. So I'm not that thought. So I'm something else. Okay. Which kind of points towards the mystery. So in my experience, focusing on not thinking brings you to naturally observe your thoughts. So the subtle power of meditation is that what I was saying about breaking up the momentum, that's really important, because it's like every time the alarm goes off to remind me to meditate, it sort of snaps, like a snap of the fingers, like a hypnotist going, there's something more real than this. So it doesn't matter what I'm engaged in, right? As soon as it comes up about meditation, that is basically saying to me, there's something deeper here. This is not real. and there's something more real that goes on in meditation. So that's very powerful. The fact that you do that throughout the day, or as many or as little times as that you do it, but every time that you make time to meditate, subtly you're saying there's a deeper reality here that I'm going to focus on. That's very powerful. Then the fact that you so many times, like in the course of 15 minutes, I might bring my mind back from thinking 200, 300, 400 times. The fact that I do that, the fact that I continually detach these thoughts and go, oh, I'm thinking again. And it's without verbally saying it, I'm going, I am not this thing that I thought I was a second ago. What am I going to do about that thing? And whatever it is, because our thoughts are so personal and there's got emotion in them, we have feelings, to keep taking that off, that mask off, and go, oh, there I am thinking again. Very gently keeps reminding yourself that you are not these things. That's really powerful. Because then over time, like one of the things about meditation that people talk about a lot is that, I close my eyes and I'm just not feeling it. I did this meditation a week ago and I was really deep. And I was so calm and I was in this beautiful, blissful place. I'm not feeling it today, right? That's an illusion. Like that's not real. Like the idea that you go somewhere comes about because your nervous system is settling, So you have proprioceptive feelings of descent and dropping and going somewhere, but you're not really. In terms of what's really happening, the place that you go to is completely accessible as soon as you close your eyes, and you don't even have to close your eyes. Like at this stage, because I've been doing it so long, I'm so familiar with it. I don't have to close my eyes. I can be having a conversation and I can be very deeply in that place at the same time. So, feelings are very similar to thoughts. Like the feelings come and go, and thoughts come and go. So, if you like, you could think, oh, this is a terrible meditation because I'm just thinking a lot. That's not true. Or this is a terrible meditation because I'm not feeling the depth. That's not true either. The power in meditation comes from making the time and sitting down and just doing repeatedly coming back to not thinking. There's great power in that. And what the effect that has is it almost like it brings the mystery up closer to the surface. So say when you begin meditation, you've never done meditation your whole life, and you start, it's like you maybe you do feel like you drop down somewhere, okay, and you connect with a part of you. As you meditate more and more, that gap, you realize that the gap is not real, and it gets closer to the surface, or it feels like it's closer to the surface. So that kind of sense of calmness, insight, wisdom, eternalness, all that stuff comes much more to the front, so that it's much more accessible to you. That's one of the other benefits of meditating. Because meditation is like a long-term thing. In a way, like through repeatedly meditating, you it has an effect in the long term as well. It's not like one of those things that you kind of do once or twice and you have fantastic results. You can have fantastic experiences, but in my experience anyway, it sort of slowly dawns on you the effects of meditation over a long time. So at the beginning, obviously, you want a quiet room that you're not going to be disturbed in, because it's hard to do. Like meditation is hard to do, particularly at the beginning. But then as you become familiar with it, you need to, like meditation is important. And as I say, I still have my little timer going off and whatever, but that is, it's like a moment to pause. But the real advantage of meditation is that the things that you get in meditation, the insights that you get in meditation, the feelings, the connection that you to the mystery that you have in meditation. For me, the purpose of it is not so much to, oh, I can only feel that when I meditate. The purpose is to bring it into my life so that I have that all the time. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, what's going on, what I'm looking at, where it's like that. Everything that I experience in meditation is available and active with me. So, um, driving along, I can suddenly see that I'm thinking something in the same way that I would detach from a thought in meditation. You go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm meditating. That just happens automatically. I start to kind of see, oh, there I am thinking about that. There I am thinking about that. Like, you could think about, or I think about myself, often it can be like a cinema, and you have all the rows right up the back row, all the way down to the front. And you can just depends on where I'm at. I can be right in the front row, almost with my face pressed up against the screen, looking at the screen out through my eyes, and I'm really involved in, what's going on. Or I could be one seat back, so I can see the part of me that's really involved in the screen. And then I might be one seat back again, so I can see the person in front of me, the me in front of me, and the one right at the front, right all the way back to the back row, where I can see all the different parts of me interacting and having arguments with itself or whatever, like that. To navigate and interact with my life in that way, where I'm observing all the different bits of me, or not. I'm right up the front, or I'm at the back, or it kind of goes along in a kind of spectrum of all the different parts of me. The purpose or the usefulness of meditation is to bring it all into daily conscious, from the time I become conscious of existence and I'm into existence, that it's on. I'm using it all. Okay, I think I'm getting to the end of my little notes. A useful thing to do, I'm not big on kind of techniques, but a thing you can do that's very helpful. It's almost like a little quality control thing you can do on your thoughts. Is if you're meditating and you discover you're thinking, right? If you go, okay, I'm thinking now. What was the thought I had just before that thought? And you come back, oh yeah, I thought about that thing, and what was the one I had before that, and that thing. So it's like, if you think of the cliche train of thought, you start going back through the carriages to find out what triggered this train of thought. Okay, now that's really useful, because particularly if you're having, a why I call it like quality control, because it's happened to me loads of times. It's like, wow, I made this super connection. That's deep. That's so impressive and profound. And then I do this tracking the thoughts back, and it's like, oh, that must have come from the mystery. That's really, that's a big piece of intuition I just got there, right? And I track it back, and it's like it tracks back to a dog barking outside, or somebody slamming a car door, or something really mundane that just happened outside that just triggered all these connections. And then when I snapped out of it and realized, I was in the middle of this, huge, really important intuition kind of thing, that it wasn't actually that. It was just thinking that just got there, So tracking back thoughts can be great for seeing how very little of what seems like really profound thinking it is from the mystery. It's actually usually just my mind, making connections and just entertaining itself with, more and more profound thoughts. It can be quite humbling. And why that's useful is because when my intuition does something does bubble up from the mystery, it has a very different quality. It won't have any trigger. It'll just pop, just with nothing to trigger it, or when there's no carriages on either side. It has a very different quality. And I would think I would miss the subtle difference if I hadn't done that, tracking back the thought thing, just to get used to what that is. The other thing to note is that, as I said, out of existence, time doesn't really register. So one of the things that can make you feel like you're not doing anything except just sitting there thinking is that your mind, or my mind, doesn't register time. Uh, my mind registers time in a linear kind of way, but out of existence, time doesn't work like that. So, for example, I could be having a thought like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to have for, and then I drop into the mystery. And I might spend, 2 seconds in the mystery and then pop up again. My mind, when it pops up, will go for dinner tonight because blah, 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 blah. So because my mind doesn't register the gap, it just puts the two things together. So from my mind's point of view, it's like I was just going, I wonder what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. Right. So you add all that together in 15 minutes and it can just feel like, well, I just thought for the whole time. But that's not what's happening. Like if you understand that your mind doesn't register the gaps in time, then you could be spending a lot of time in the mystery or very deep without registering it. So if you sort of feel like, oh, I'm just doing a lot of thinking, you're probably not. Right. Okay. So I hope I answered that person's questions. Does anybody have any questions about any of all of that to do with meditations? Because I do have another question I want to get to. But yeah, if anyone got any questions about meditation or anything that I've talked about just there. Nope. Good. Okay. But yeah, meditation, really, really useful, free tool for further emergence. Can't recommend it highly enough. Okay. So I have another question. This is about touch. It says, hi, John. My question for the Zoom group is about touch. Why is touch so important if the real magic happens out of existence? For example, for newborns, skin-to-skin bonding to the mother. Thanks. Okay, so this is a great question, I think, because it highlights quite a few different things. So, as I said, in existence, there's not much that's real in my experience. The only two things that I can see that are real are love and communication, and they're kind of the same. So touch is part of communication, just like all the other senses. Like all the other senses are to do with communication, particularly if it involves other human beings. Like the smell of another person is a communication, and you register that. The touch of another person, that's a communication as well as the words, as well as the visual, what you see of the other person. That's all part of the communication. And like in terms of touch and say newborns, it comes back to where does the touch actually happen? It doesn't happen in existence. Okay, it's like what you're doing with the hands on your thighs and that membrane. Okay, so for a mother touching the baby, or for a baby being touched by the mother, the you've got the outwardly, you've got the, there's the mummy's hand, there's the baby, and there's a connection. But the communication is happening out of existence because it's like, if I pick up this glass, okay, and I touch that glass, I don't register the touch of the glass, the feeling of the glass, the sensation of the glass. I don't register it in the glass. So it's not happening in existence. It's happening in my finger, inside my finger, which is out of existence. My finger is in existence. My hand, there's my hand. I can see my hand. That's in existence. But the sensation, like when I close my eyes, and you were doing it earlier on, when you're closing your eyes, you're coming into the sensation in your hands. That's happening out of existence. Like all your senses happen out of existence. All the registering goes on out of existence. So you can think of your body like a glove puppet, as I said, that you are communicating with. Okay. But that doesn't diminish the importance of the communication, because for the mother to touch the baby and for the baby to feel the mother's touch, that's a communication. Okay. But the baby's registering the sensation out of existence inside itself, and the mother is, registering it out of existence inside herself as well. So you never really touch in existence. You touch kind of out of existence, but the communication happens through existence. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it does. Does that make sense? Emma's waving. I think Emma's waving. Yeah, far away. You're just saying it doesn't make sense? Okay, well, what bit doesn't make sense? Unfortunately, it's very clear in my head. So it's
Great.
just down to
That's
me
awesome.
me communicating, not
I'm not in your
communicating it
head though.
great. Yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah,
you
yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
No, I'm having a challenge understanding how sensation, and I think I'm understanding that correctly, sensation is out of existence. And I don't understand that because there's
Uh,
something in sensation, you know. I can feel my heart beating. I can
yeah, but
feel
where do
changes. I can feel heat. And I can feel all that in my body. And whether you call it membrane between in and out of existence, there's still a piece in all of this. Unless I am asleep or dead, I feel this. So there is something I do not understand in how sensation is out of existence.
yeah, well, when you say in your body, what does that mean? Like,
Okay, so for instance, the heart pounding, right? The heart beating. I can feel changes in that. And how do I feel that? I feel a beating in my chest. And sometimes, because it fluctuates, I feel it less or. You're about to say something.
no, well, when you're finished, have you finished?
Go ahead.
Um, well, it comes to the thing, like, for me, I feel sensations inside. Okay, inside, um, what I call my body for convenience. Okay, but I don't assume I have a heart. I don't assume. Um,
Okay, so for instance, what do you call then this? Do you feel the beating of your heart?
yes, but well, I feel a sensation
Okay.
that um, is called a heartbeat,
Okay.
and it has a
So then
rhythm to
also
it.
another example, do you feel heat that could be potentially translated into sweaty palms? Then you feel suddenly, oh, my hands are not dry. I can feel suddenly, or sweat, droplets of sweat rolling down your armpits, your chest. So those are very maybe subtle, not subtle changes in the body,
Yeah.
but indicate to me sensation. Is it correct, or like, am I
Uh,
formulating that right? Or
well, they're like external. Again, like the only place I'm going to see sweat is in existence. I'm going to see it. Okay. The only place I'm going to feel it, the sensation of the sweat rolling down my body, that's going to be out of existence. The only place I'm going to register heat is out of existence. It's inside. Like I don't register that in existence. It's inside. It's out of existence. All the senses end up being registered out of existence.
Okay.
Hang on, someone's saying, like if you get bitten by a dog or stung by a bee, it's happening from outside to you, not from inside of me. That's what don't get either. I think that's what I don't get either. Well, yeah, like somebody can hit you and you'll feel the sensation, of being hit. You'll feel that inside. Like all like sensation, it like one of the great things about sensation, one of the reasons why it helps to make existence feel so real is that it really feels like it's happening out here, but it's not. It's happening inside. Like you never feel anything out there. It's always inside. Like even your finger, when you touch something, and it feels like, yes, there, look, I'm touching it, I'm tapping it, I'm tapping that thing. So it does exist. It's like, no, the tapping's all inside your finger, just like you were feeling when you were feeling the sensation in your hand and bringing it down onto your thigh. Like that's a really good exercise to sort of keep feeling the difference because you can feel it from both sides. You can be inside your thighs, almost like looking up at your hand coming down, and you can also be in your hand coming down. But there's this line between the two that never, which is the membrane, like what I call the membrane of existence, that you never cross, because it's like you're coming into this glove puppet of your body, and you never get beyond the skin of it. Can feel like it, but when you really like come back into what's really happening here, what you take away the assumptions about there's an outside here that I'm interacting with. It's all happening inside. So if a dog bites you, well, you're gonna see the dog coming for you. You'll feel the pain, you'll feel the sensation, you'll feel the pain. You might even see if it cuts your skin, you'll see what looks like inside your body. But as soon as you cut your body, you're looking, it's not like you're cutting the curtain of existence and you're like, see there's an inside of my body. It goes like, say here's your skin and it gets cut. The screen or the membrane of existence, it just goes down into the cut exactly the same way. It's like if you happen to ever see your insides, you're still ever going to see them from the outside, which is very different from the sensation of what they feel like on the inside. So all the as I said, all the anatomical structures and hearts and lungs and all that, they're all, for me, energetic signatures of what's going on inside. But they're not, I don't see them, I don't believe in them, if you know what I mean, because I experience them differently. I experience the sensation of them very differently to what I see outside. See Emma's wanting to say, yeah.
Yeah, I was just then curious when you didn't tap into the, out of existence heart. How do you know then that it's resting and beating at a very low calm or it's pounding out of your chest? How do you notice the difference?
I don't really understand, like the the
So the sensation, it is the
yeah,
heart. We cannot see it. It is out of existence. It is not
yeah,
in existence. Am I
yeah,
correct there? Okay.
yeah.
So out of existence, sensing particularly in the heart area, however that represents to you, do you ever notice a difference then between when you're at rest or you're about, or it's
Oh yeah.
beating faster?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll feel. Like if I run up a hill, my heart, I'll feel like the boom, 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 boom. I'll hear it in my ears almost as well. It's different. But that
So
what
isn't that a sensation in your body?
uh yeah, I'm not like denying any sensations. I'm just saying they all happen out of existence. Like if I run up a hill, like it's part of this fantastic, elaborate illusion of I'm running up a hill. So like I feel like I'm going somewhere, which again is assumption because the things that were in the distance are getting bigger. So I have this feeling of like whatever. And then I'm like using my body and like, or feel like I'm using my body and have all these sensations. I have been told about hearts. If you were never told about a heart, how would you know you had one? You know, like I have this, I'm running along and it's like boom, 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 boom. Maybe I'm starting to sweat. I feel hot. I'm out of breath, breathing, all that. I have all that going on, of course. But all of that sensational stuff that's happening is all being registered out of existence. And it all creates this beautiful illusion of that existence is real. Oh, hang on, someone's saying, your foot is contacting the floor. I can visually see that, but the sensation is not in the mind for a few moments until the foot wakes up again. I don't get that, Paul. Could you ask or say that in a different way? I don't get it. And then Faz is, yeah, getting what you mean. Okay, good.
Hi, John.
Hi, Paul.
No, what I was saying was when your foot goes to sleep.
Oh, goes to
So
sleep.
that's,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you sort of have that feeling of your foot is numb. And
Yeah.
then when you step off and you put your foot to the floor, I can visually look down and I see my foot is touching the floor, but there is no sensation because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no, the signals isn't there. It's not sending
Dead, yeah.
the correct kind of thing. And then so the sensation is what arrives in your brain when the foot is awake. So, but the sensation is being felt internally, it's in the mind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it
I'm
all
using the foot going to sleep as like just as an example,
of what?
of sensation existing in the mind.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. But where's the mind? What is like the mind?
Mm.
And where is that? You know, because you know, again, similarly, told I have a brain, but I don't know about brain. I don't know. And when I like when as I say when I meditate and I pull back from existence a little bit, and I kind of let go of the idea of the shape of my body, it changes. It's like it starts off because our eyes are in our head. It sort of feels like, oh, and our brain is in our head. We're kind of told, oh yeah, it's all happening up here. But as I pull back from that, and I've sort of let go of that and kind of going, what does it all feel really like? It changes. It's like the sensation of my feet starts to come up, and often it becomes more spherical, and the center of my being, if you like, or my interface, often feels like it drops down, so that where I'm used to kind of thinking about, it's all in my mind and in my head, it actually starts to drop down, and there's bits up here, and it's very different for me the further back I get. So, like, I know from a physiological point of view about nerve endings and traveling and all that kind of thing, and that's all fine. But in the further back I get from that and I let go of that, just what's sensationally, it's more, I don't so much think about my brain and my mind and things like that. I more have a sense of kind of just being, or like a more totalitarian. No, that's not the right word, but more of a total kind of feeling.
Yes, John.
Yeah.
So with your example of the baby and the mother, and you said, in your example, you said communication through existence. What did you mean by that?
Well, the mother and the baby meet each other in existence, but like they that one hand goes over the other in existence. Okay? But the communication that happens is happening out of existence. Now, whether that communication would have happened out of existence or not, I don't know. But like the like existence often feels to me like the early days of the internet, where people would meet and talk in chat rooms, and you never knew who you were really talking to. but the communication was real, to a degree, depending on what you're talking about, right? And it's kind of like that as well. It sort of feels like existence is a place to communicate with who knows, meaning um, I never like assume that the other person, just because they have a human shape and they look like me, that they're the same as me on the inside. So from that kind of point of view, or from that perspective, the mother and the baby, like for whatever reason, they've come through from either side of existence to connect. Okay, so communication happens, and this beautiful, loving, sensation. It's so enjoyable, like to feel, to touch another person, to touch yourself, to feel the sensation. Like I remember reading about Krishnamurti, and he used to like love going to tailor shops on Savile Row, and you just like feel all the fabric, and just I remember it's always stuck in my mind, like how he obviously enjoyed the sensation of fabric, and like like sensuality and like the sensation of touch is brilliant, like fantastic. Sex, God. That's fantastic, right? So the coming back to the mother and baby, the two of them have kind of come from either side of existence, if you like, to connect and communicate. And the communication is beautiful. But the sensation doesn't happen in existence, The communication happens through existence for sure. And just in your own experience, like in your own body, you've never felt, like if you've touched your child, you've never felt it in the child. It's always been inside you. That's all. It's just, it always happens. Everything always happens inside you. It always happens out of existence, Or I don't know what other way to say it other than out of existence. It's not a great term, I know, but it's like to see the difference, like why it's important, right? This thing about sensation and senses generally is that if you are very stuck in that it's all happening in existence, it's all for real, this illusion is real, you're sort of missing a huge percentage of what's really going on, which is behind the scenes and where things are really happening. That's why like meditation is really helpful, because it helps you to begin to pull back from that and to start to see, but then to also like really, really examine what's really happening with your senses and with, say hearing, sight, sensation, taste. It's all the same. There's not that many of them, the senses, when they create this great illusion. And I don't want to be the guy standing up in the cinema going, oh, it's not real, it's only just shadows on the wall, and what are y'all laughing about, or what are y'all upset about? It's not so much that, but it's like if you start to take the movie too seriously, then you can really get in the way of what you went to watch the movie for in the first place. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Any other questions about all of this stuff? No? Okay, good. All right. Well, don't take my word for any of this, obviously. Check it all in your own experience. Check it all. See how it sort of fits with you. And, that's one of the things I meant to say about meditation. I didn't say it. Like, really, the real benefit, or not the real benefit, one of the things about meditation is that eventually you just let it all go, everything go, so that you can find, so that your own wisdom can come out, Like some of the meditations that I kind of came up with on my own just came out of nowhere. They just came up inside me. And they'll be the same for you, So it's that, in a way, that's kind of why I really advocate this just not thinking thing, because it's such a blank slate. It's not like there's no technique to kind of get, oh well, I have to do it this way, or I have to say my mantra, or I have to have my incense, or I have to have anything. It doesn't. You let all of that go so that your own wisdom can come to the fore. And it's the same. Like, I am just struggling here to kind of convey what's going on for me, and how I see and experience things. But I'm just limited by words, obviously. So using meditation, it'll the real communication has gone on behind the scenes anyway. But one of the great things about meditation is that it helps and allows your own wisdom to come to the fore, and express itself in its own way. Right. Okay. Well, thanks for coming along to another Zoom group. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Okay.
Thanks for the chat,
Thank
John.
you.
Take care.
You're very welcome. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.